Hello. I wanted to open with a new poem, which I wrote especially for, at the request actually, of the painter James Rosenquist. It was for a catalog of his painting series, The Doll Faces. Let's see, Gift Wrap Doll, or Serenade for the Doll, after Claude Debussy. And I thought, ooh, what an odd idea. He'd painted, for those of you who don't know, all these sort of bizarre baby dolls wrapped in saran wrap, and some of them looked like they were going up in flames. And all I was told was, you know, whatever you feel, you can write about when you look at these paintings. So this poem came out of that visual experience. It's called Picture This. A woman hurled out. A woman hurls herself out the window, exits out the window, expects to crash land on the sidewalk. Crash land bones and skin into sidewalk below. Surprise, surprise. There she is, buoyant in mid-air in limbo, screeching the screech of a bitch eagle. My girls, my lost daughters. Hurls herself, she hurts herself, tries to catch up with her lovely, lost, placid girls. Hey, doll face, hey, baby doll, sugar sweet, sweet thing. I reach out, palms up, stigmata oozing, divine blood of pig and rooster. Down, down, come down, down with me now. Enough of this burning house, this ruin, this dream, cobalt blue, pure love, electricity. My daughters defy me, pastel virgin brides, saran wrapped serene, perpetually puckering swollen lips, bloody divine. Kiss, kiss, don't buy into it, bite into it. Hey, mama, hey, doll face, hey, baby, hey, face. Wrap me up, wrap me tight in your embrace like a mummy, mommy. Tight. I hurl myself, hurt myself, screech the screech of a bitch eagle into the rubble. It is time now. Jaguar babies with flat feet and hungry eyes unfurl from my broken spine. Calla lily, cobra lily, mud, shrouded in cellophane, upkeep minimal, shelf life eternal, feral and glossy bouquets, profane, immaculate conceptions. Thank you. I was born and raised a raving Catholic. Can you tell? This is my favorite poem. It's called Song for My Father, and I think it's a good introduction to dog eaters because it's a poem I wrote after my first trip back to the Philippines in the 70s. I'd been away for many, many, many years and hadn't seen my father in all that time. And when I chose to return, martial law had been declared and things had really become oppressive. So this poem was the inevitable outcome of that journey. Song for My Father. I arrive in the unbearable heat, the sun's stillness stretching across the land's silence, people staring out from airport cages, thousands of miles later, and I have not yet understood my obsession to return. And 12 years is fast inside my brain, exploding like tears I could show you, but you already know. You greet me, and I see it is you all the time. pulling me back towards this space. Letters are the memory I carry with me, the unspoken name of you, my father. In New York, they asked me if I'm Puerto Rican. And do I live in Queens? I listen to pop stations. Chant to Yemaja, convinced I'm really Brazilian. And you, a riverboat gambler, shooting dice in Macau during the war. Roaches fly around us like bats in twilight and berry white grunts in fashionable discotheques, setting the pace for gorillas to grind. The president's wife has a fondness for concert pianists, and gossip is integral to conversation. If you eat enough papaya, your sex drive diminishes. Lorenza paints my nails blue, and we giggle at the dinner table. Aunts and whores, brothers and homosexuals, a contessa with Chinese eyes, and an uncle cranky with loneliness. He carries an American passport like me. And here we are, cathedrals in our thighs, banana trees for breasts, history all mixed up, saxophones in our voices when we scream, the love of rhythms inherent when we dance. They can Latin here and shoot you for the wrong glance, eyes that kill, eyes that kill. Dope dealers are executed in public, and senators go mad in prison camps. The nightclubs burn with indifference. Curfew draws near. Soldiers lurk in jeeps of dawn war zones as the president's daughter boogies nostalgically under the gaze of 16 smooth bodyguards. And decay is forever, even in the rage of humorless revolutionaries. In hotel lobbies, we drink rum, testing each other's wit. Snakes sometimes crawl in our beds, but what can you do in the heat? The laziness makes you love so easily. You smile like Buddha from Madrid, urging me to swim with you. The water is clear with corpses of dragonflies and mosquitoes. I'm writing different poems now. My dreams have become reptilian and green. Everything green, green and hot. Eyes that kill, eyes that kill. Women slither in and out of barroom doorways. Their tongues massage the terror from your nightmares, the lizard hissing nervously as he watches you breathe. I am trapped by overripe mangoes. I am trapped by the beautiful sadness of women. I am trapped by priests and nuns whispering my name in confession boxes. I am trapped by antiques and the music of the future and leaving you again and again. For America, the loneliest of countries, my words change. Sometimes I even forget English.
I was first and foremost a poet, I think, and that's kind of how I fell in love with the English language. And I think even Dog Eaters is a poet's novel. It's very involved with language, you know, sort of the playfulness of language itself. So I think a lot of people are right when they say, you know, this is sort of, it's driven by language and character, much more so than by action.
Dog Eaters is a novel I wrote about the Philippines, where I was born. I call it my love letter to my motherland. And I would like to read a few excerpts for you. It's a story told from many different points of view, and there's like 1 million characters. I can't seem to get away from writing from 1 million different points of view. I mean, this film I just worked on has 51 speaking parts, and we had no money, of course. So, but you know, we got it done for love, right? 51 characters. I mean, everybody had to say something, because I love writing dialogue. And so, this novel, I think it's suited to the Philippines because I think there are so many points of view there, and it's an incredibly rich and complicated culture, and no one point of view in my opinion, would tell the whole story. So this one is about the richest man in the Philippines, and it's called The King of Coconuts. And actually, it's sort of a response to someone's question, why do they call this person the King of Coconuts? Because, they would say, simply because he tells the president what to do, because he dances well, because he tells the first lady off, because he dances well and collects art, because he calls the general Nicky, because he owns a 10,000-acre hacienda named Las Palmas, because he employs a private army of mercenaries, because he collects primitive art, Renaissance art, and modern art, because he owns silver Madonnas, rotting statues of unknown saints, and jeweled altars lifted intact from the bowels of bombed-out churches, because his house is not a home but a museum, because he smokes cigars, because he flies his own yellow helicopter, because he plays golf with a 5 handicap, because he plays polo and breeds horses, because he breeds horses for fun and profit, because he is a greedy man, a generous man, because his wealth is self-made, not inherited, because he owns everything we need, including a munitions factory, because he dances well, the boogie, the foxtrot, the waltz, the cha-cha, the mambo, the hustle, the bump, because he dances a competent tango, because he owns the Metro Manila Daily, Celebrity Pinoy Weekly, Radio Manila, True Cola soft drinks, plus controlling interests in Mabuhay Movie Studios, Apollo Records, the Monte Vista Golf and Country Club, because he conceived and constructed Sportex, a futuristic department store in the suburb of Makati, because he was once nominated for president and declined to run, because he plays poker and wins, because he is short and smells like expensive citrus, because he has elegant silver hair, big ears, slanted Japanese eyes, and the aquiline nose of a Spanish mestizo, because his skin is dark and leathery from too much sun, because he is married to a stunning, selfish beauty with a caustic tongue, because most people envy his wife, because most people are jealous, because his downfall is eagerly awaited, his downfall assumed, because his wife has had her tubes tied, because he's always wanted sons, because his only legitimate child is female, because she is not exceptional or beautiful, because she hardly speaks, because her name is Rosario, but she is burdened with the nickname Baby, because her mother dislikes her and almost admits it, because her father flaunts his mistresses, because her mother is discreet, because her father has exquisite manners and her mother is famous for being rude, because her father threatens to acknowledge his bastard sons, because he employs them in menial jobs, because his bastard sons worship him, love him, plot against him, because he dances well and collects art, because he never finished school, because men, women, and children are drawn to him like moths to a flame, because he is unable to maintain a full erection, because it doesn't matter, because he no longer drinks, because he maintains a high-protein diet and has trouble moving his bowels, because he suffers from hemorrhoids and has been operated on twice, because he has premonitions about his death and believes in God, because he dreams of cancer, eating away his brain, his liver, his stomach, his balls, because he dreams of morphine, how it won't be enough. I did research. I never do research. But I thought I better do research as I was writing this novel. I should do a little bit of research anyway, make sure my memory was intact and some of the history was had a grain of truth to it. And I found this thing in a book in a library in New Hampshire. And I couldn't believe it when I read it. And I found out it really did happen. And it's amazing to me, you know, growing up in the Philippines, what wasn't taught to me in school about my own history. And so I had to go to New Hampshire to this library in this little town. And I came across this book, and here was this speech which explained a lot to me, you know, about my own schizophrenia. And it was a speech that President William McKinley addressed to a delegation of Methodist churchmen in 1898. And I later found out, of course, since my history lessons in elementary school were so perverse and had a lot of gaps in them, that 1898 was a very hot year for America. A lot of things happened in 1898. So I decided, it was perfect for dog eaters, and I just put it in, didn't edit it. So this is what this guy said, right, in his pajamas. I thought first we would take only Manila, then Luzon, then other islands perhaps also. I walked the floor of the White House night after night until midnight, and I am not ashamed to tell you, gentlemen, that I went down on my knees and prayed Almighty God for light and guidance more than one night. And one night it came to me this way. I don't know how it was, but it came. One, that we could not give them back to Spain. That would be cowardly and dishonorable. Two, that we could not turn them over to France or Germany, our commercial rivals in the Orient. That would be bad business and discreditable. Three, that we could not leave them to themselves. They were unfit for self-government, and they would soon have anarchy and misrule over there worse than Spain's was. And four, that there was nothing left for us to do but to take them all and to educate the Filipinos and uplift and civilize and Christianize them. He didn't know that they were already Christian. And by God's grace, do the very best we could by them as our fellow men for whom Christ also died. And then I went to bed and went to sleep and slept soundly.
It was very intense reading the work Dog Eaters in the Philippines because it's set there and the people there know every reference you are talking about. It's a different kind of a reading, quote unquote. And even in places where, like Hawaii, which has a very large Philippine community, and they care about what you write about, and they want to know why you wrote what you wrote, and they come in force. Your references are there's an inside quality about those readings that I really like. It's much more intense for me, I think, to read in certainly in places where those cultural references are not a secret.
I will end my little thing from Dog Eaters. This is like a smorgasbord with this excerpt from one of the last chapters called Bananas and the Republic. And several people have been killed when this chapter comes along. And a foreign journalist has been allowed to go to the Malacanang Palace to interview the First Lady. And so this is what she says. Madame reveals her unabashed belief in astrology, the powers of psychic healing, Darwin's theory of evolution, and the loyalty of her homosexual constituents. Her faith in a nuclear freeze, her respect for Oscar de la Renta. To make a point, Madame removes one shoe. She holds it up for the foreign journalist's benefit. Local made. You see, Steve, they say I only buy imported products. But look, diba? My shoe has a label that clearly says Marikina shoes made in the PI. You know our famous expression, imported? It's always been synonymous with the best in my country. She pauses to glance around the room at her hovering female attendants, all dressed in blue. Madame turns her attention back to him. They accuse me of being extravagant, but I've owned these shoes for at least 5 years. Look at the worn heel. And this beautiful dress I'm wearing is also local made, out of pineapple fiber, which we also export. I use top Filipino designers exclusively for my clothes and my shoes. Valera, Espiritu, Ben Farales. And Chiquiting Moreno is the only one allowed to touch my hair. I am a nationalist when it comes to fashion. She smiles. She has been lying to him cheerfully all morning, and they both know it. He smiles back. She shows him the mother of pearl heel of her custom-made pot de soie pumps. I have big feet for a Filipina, she sighs. All my shoes have to be special ordered. Pale blue, sky blue, virgin blue, happy blue, mother of pearl blue shoes. Her own designs, she tells him proudly. Her favorite color, blue, a color which for her signifies harmony, peace, her serene oneness with the universe. Queen of beauty queens, Miss Universal Universe, Miss Between, Madame Galactica, Madame International, Maganda, Pearl of the Orient, Pacific Rim Regina, Mother of Asia, thought I'd say vagina, Land of the Morning, Miss Bahay Kubu, Miss Manila, Lunareta, Moonlight Sonata, Binibining Pilipinas, Jet Set Ambassadress of Adobo and Goodwill, whose unwrinkled face reflects the shining love, the truth burning in her heart, mother of smooth alabaster complexions, hairdo of eternity, calculating mother of noncommittal mouth and eyes, oh perennial indifference, oh lizard-pouched chin, defiantly held up for the cameras, every photo opportunity seized. Madame uses her favorite American expression as many times and as randomly as possible throughout her interview. Okay. Okay. Okay lang. So they don't like my face. They're all jealous, okay? My beauty has been used against me. I've been made to suffer. I can't help it, okay? I was born this way. I never asked God. Can you beat that, puede ba? I am cursed by my own beauty. Do you like my face?
I think the landscape of North American literature is definitely changing, and I think the wave of the future are these writers and artists of color, biracial, multiracial, whatever, you know, because I think America itself is becoming more and more this mixed bag. I mean, I think it was at one time dominated by one particular point of view, and no longer. It's still very slow to me, and I think it's very threatening to a lot of keepers of the flame. You know, they see it as, oh my God, what are we going to do with a canon? You know, does this mean that you know, all the old favorites like Hawthorne and Melville are going to go out the window, which I think is really crazy. I mean, I think, you know, they're not listening to what a lot of us are saying, that you open the door, but that doesn't mean you have to throw out, you know, what's already there. I mean, you just have to add to it. And, but it's still very threatening to a lot of people, because many of us have questioned why things are being taught the way they are, why only certain people are read or taught in schools, for example. And slowly, I mean, I think sometimes we tend to think that everything is changing and it's all wonderful. But, you know, from my travels around the country, I see that the change has really been rather slow. It's just the media chooses to kind of hype, you know, like as if everybody is really onto something new. And I think that's only happening in certain places. The effects are there. I mean, when I travel around and young people come up to me and say, you know, now you're our role model, you know, young Filipino Americans, for example. It's a very scary thought to me. But at the same time, it also makes me feel blessed but it's a big responsibility, and I think I can't carry all of that, you know. But I understand why they want me to, because I never had it when I came to this country. I had to sort of invent myself and make it up as I went along. There were no people for me, really, who came close to my experience. You know, I mean, I just had to kind of improvise constantly. But I think now for the people coming up now, people who are in the universities, they at least have a literature to look to. You know, it's growing. And they can look to Sandra Cisneros, they can look to, you know, Intozaki, to Fei Eng, to Gish Jin, people like that, you know, who are like in their 30s, in their early 40s, in their 20s, you know, who are writing and getting published and who have a very strong vision of the world. I mean, that's amazing to me. But it scares me, you know, more people who say that to me, like, you know, we follow what you do or whatever. You know, I kind of want to tell them I'm only a human being, and I am not speaking for the entire community, whatever that community might be, because I have a crossover audience, you know. And so it's not just about Asian Americans or an audience of color, a gay audience, a straight audience. You know, I mean, I get quite a cross-section of people who come to see my work or hear me or whatever, which is wonderful to me. And I'm going to beat my chest again. I like that. And there's also an age cross-section. So what does this all mean? Maybe this is really wonderful and healthy. But, you know, I don't, you know, when like a reporter will ask me a question about the Philippines or something, I always say, this is what I think, this is what I think, but I am not speaking for the culture, you know. I'm not doing that. I'm not a politician, and I'm not, you know, a spokesperson. You know, these are all individuals, and we don't all think alike, and we don't agree